Welcome to another episode of the Apocalypse. The end is nigh. All must choose. No one is allowed to be indifferent anymore. There are only two options or two paths. Option one or path one. God, Jesus Christ, decency, justice, morality, the law. Path 2, the imp, the antichrist, the false prophet, the apocalypse. Armageddon. Plague. The lake. Choose now. Congratulations, you have chosen the apocalypse. And since you have unwisely chosen the apocalypse, you are in urgent need of a guide. Unfortunately for me, I happen to be that guide, your humble guide, Nicholas. So good to see you, a bloody gay. And it appears the entire Reich, the entire cabinet was set loose upon the morning and afternoon shows. For once again they crossed a threshold and they're wondering, are the pitchforks and torches going to come out, or are they going to let us get away with it again? Let's do the usual song and dance, where we send the cabinet out to justify the evil mass murder and stealing of treasure and the kidnapping of a leader of another nation and the parading of him through the streets. And then, of course, Donnie swoops in to finish off the day. For the abominations spoken earlier were not sufficient. Enough lies, enough evil was not spoken. Donnie felt the need to cap it all off. Let's begin. I got a bunch of quotes by Rubio. I'm going to go through those quickly because I don't really give a fuck about Little Marco, but this is important. So Little Marco got deployed. The puppy killer and others got deployed because they crossed the threshold, and there could be millions of people in the streets right now protesting. There isn't. They did the normal song and dance where they filled your head up with talking points all day, the cabinet, and then Donnie. And no protests. Everyone went back to what they were doing. Oh, okay. There's going to be a lot of okays. My God, what was said today. So starting with Little Marco, did I show him to you? Let me show him again. Because this is the apocalypse. It's the end, son. Get a good look. Marco's one of the people just pushing the apocalypse right over the edge, right in our face. Can't fucking help himself. You know, Little Marco used to live with a gay drug dealer when he was a young man. They had a place together. For a while. That's the world Little Marco comes from. Don't ever forget that. Is the Cuban government the Trump administration's next target? Well, the Cuban government is a huge problem. Yeah. Is that a yes? I think they're in a lot of trouble. Yes. So they're straight up saying they're going to hit Cuba. They just, again, the grave of Venezuela isn't even cold yet. Again, I told you who's the Antichrist. This doesn't surprise me. It should really surprise all of you out there. This is exactly what the Antichrist is supposed to do. So, Little Marco literally straight up saying, yeah, we're going to hit Cuba. Okay. Trump said the U.S. is going to run Venezuela under what legal authority? Rubio doesn't answer. Let me ask the question again. What is the legal authority for the United States to be running Venezuela? Rubio doesn't answer. He gave a bullshit answer, which I'll get to. I have different pieces here and there. We don't need the whole thing. It's all fucking lies anyway. And again, I know a million people have said that about a million administrations, a million political hack pundits and real pundits, and nice people and mostly terrible people. But this time, again, son, is fucking different, or I would not fucking be here again. Believe me, I could find something better to fucking do. But this is important. I feel it needs to be done, whether anyone watches or not. Are you running Venezuela right now? Little Marco's being asked. George, I believe he's talking to George Stephanopoulos. I'll explain again that the leverage we have here is the leverage of the quarantine. That is the Department of War operation. I'm obviously intricately involved in these policies. Yeah, they're running Venezuela. Yes, Venezuela was annexed. They're telling the vice president to fuck off. They're telling the rebel leader that thought this was all a great fucking idea to fuck off. Donnie's saying we run it. Rubio's saying, in a diplomatic, cowardly way, yeah, it's ours now, yeah. Again, son, did you think all the annex talk and all the roundup talk and all the Antichrist talk, did you think that was all bullshit? He was just joking, right? That's what you people always say. No, Donnie doesn't joke. He was never joking for 10 years. Including when he said he wanted to be Pope, son. I am not kidding. He had the White House repost that, son. That wasn't a joke. That's because he wanted to be Pope. He's sick in the fucking head. We all tried to warn you. Yes, that mobster, that liar, rapist, pedophile. When the job opening for Pope came up, he actually wanted to be Pope. He is a sick individual. That's what you have done. That's who you've given the nuclear football to. A mobster of low education. A criminal in every way you can think of. Absolute evil. When the job of Pope opened up after his vice president killed him, I forgot about that. You fucking cunts. He wanted the job. I'm not kidding. And eventually, son, you'll see what I mean when he wants your worship. And he's the perfect guy to do it. I never seen anyone who needed it more. He's the perfect candidate for the Antichrist. So one more time, did you think all the annexation talk was a joke? Did you think I've been telling Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Adam Schiff and all those people, get the fuck out the country for, 5 years? For nothing? I like saying that. That's fun for me. All deadly serious. This had all the earmarks of a cult, of a white supremacist movement, of the devil, of Nazism, of every bad thing you can fucking think of. It had it all 10 years ago and everybody fucking knew it. But it was a big fucking game. Now we're fucked. They name in like 5 different countries they want to hit. Again, the grave on Venezuela ain't even cold yet, son. And again, that's why I've been yelling, he's the Antichrist for 10 fucking years. You're seeing it in action, and he just got started. Already took the Holy Land, like I said. This is the first straight-up military annexation. Trump said the U.S. is going to run Venezuela under what legal authority? Again, that question that we kind of glossed over before. We want a better future for the people of Venezuela. No, they don't. They want the oil. I'll ask again, what is your legal authority? We have court orders. No, they don't. They have nothing. And they didn't go to Congress, and it's illegal. They prosecuted a war, kidnapped a country's leader, and says, we run the country now. Yeah, that's no little operation where you don't need congressional approval. I'm sorry. It's just illegal, and it's impeachable as a motherfucker. Again, so are the murders on the Caribbean. All impeachable shit. None of it normal whatsoever. Once again, how I know, and you should know, you in something different now. You in some different waters you're not used to. They say politics, son, and I've been yelling that for 10 fucking years. As you people out there called it politics. No, this is the end of everything. That's what modern politics is. You can choose the apocalypse, or you can choose a future for you and your children. You chose the apocalypse via your vote. Why in the modern world is your vote literally life and death? Because in the modern world, we have a thing called nuclear fucking weapons. So if you vote for a madman, he could shoot one of those the fuck off. You cunts. I know. It was the Buffalo Bills against the Cowboys. Never mind. That's all politics is to you people. I know. That's why it's all over. So little Marco dodged the question what legal authority he has because he has none. And the reason before the election I was yelling, if you give Donnie the biggest hammer, he can't be impeached. No one can touch him. He's got the military, and they're going along, so they ain't going to let it happen anyway. No one can come get him. Once the keys were handed over, once he had the military, which he got quickly. They have no legal authority, and the man being interviewed, little Marco, couldn't even come up with a good enough bullshit answer. You're watching a Reich, you're watching the Adolf Hitler tour, or the Adolf Hitler annexation tour, I should call it. That's what you're witnessing. If the purpose of the operation was to capture Maduro, bring him to justice, why does the U.S. need to take over the Venezuela oil industry? Good question. Well, we don't need to. We have plenty of oil in the United States. Obviously, we don't because the oil companies want Venezuela's, and so does Donnie. So, obviously, we don't have enough oil. We want to see the oil proceeds of the country benefit the people of Venezuela. No, they don't. They want to see it benefit the oil companies that are rushing down there as we speak, and Donnie shitbags, and a few other people. That's it. I can see Donnie, why should I give Venezuela any money? I took it. It's mine. Again, what I've been saying for so long, you little children don't even understand what you have unleashed. And again, for the millionth time, everyone will be crying in the end. I've been saying that literally for 10 fucking years. Leon was spotted at Mar-a-Lago at the big party after, they bombed Venezuela and kidnapped the leader. All from Mar-a-Lago, they did that too, by the way. I forgot to mention that yesterday. Here's a picture of Leon walking in. I think that's Leon there. I'm not sure. It might be him. But it's Mar-a-Lago. It's when Leon walks in. They catch him on camera. That didn't take long. Leon back at Mar-a-Lago having dinner with Trump last night. Wonder what he wants from Venezuela. Could it be their lithium field? Right. Leon's all part of this too. I told you, even though he got the foot up the ass, he would still be an integral part of the Reich. He's just not in our faces like he was before. Donnie told him to fuck off. There's only room for one of those egos in any room. I told you from the beginning in January when Leon had his kid in the Oval Office and he was, acting like he lived there while Donnie was president, sitting right, 5 feet away. What'd I say back then? Donnie don't like this. He's going along for now. Donnie does not like this, and he will not forget it. Shortly, 4 months in, something like that, Leon already the foot up the ass, get the fuck out of here. I'm the king. I'm Caesar. And they were both looking at each other the whole time. Leon thought he was the Hitler figure, the co-chancellor who takes out the chancellor. Nope, it went the opposite way. The chancellor took out the co-chancellor. They were both looking at each other. They're both Nazis. They both believe it. They both want to run the world. I'm not kidding. They're the same person. That's why they're Beast 1 and 2, in my opinion. They're the same. And they were both looking at each other from second one. How do I get this motherfucker out the way and make it mine? Donnie won that fight. But Leon didn't jump ship. He knows that he still has to go along with this. He still wants the Reich. He still wants it all. So he's still integral. He's still behind the scenes. He's still around. He's at fucking Mar-a-Lago. So he's even near Donnie after saying Donnie, is in the Epstein files. After he pulled that chess piece, after he made that move. So Leon didn't go nowhere. Just like I said. Back to Rubio. Why wasn't congressional authorization necessary? It wasn't necessary because this was not an invasion. We didn't occupy a country. This was an arrest operation. No, they did occupy a country. It was an invasion. They bombed a country. They put boots on the ground. They kidnapped a leader. The CIA been there for fucking months. It's a war. 80 people are dead. He just had a war with Venezuela and kidnapped their leader without congressional approval. That's called, class, a dictatorship. That's why we do it that way. So we don't get a sick fuck like Donnie who says, I'm going to attack 6 different fucking countries. Donnie's already at the point where Napoleon was when he was marching into fucking Russia. Believe in his own hype. Walked out with 40,000 men. 400,000 died. Another 150, something like that, or 100,000, got taken as slave captives, all kinds of stuff. Prisoner. 40,000 came back out of an estimated 650. 400,000 dead. Just his people. That's the danger of a general believing his own hype and thinking he can take the bear in winter. Donnie's already at that point. We got 5, 6 places already lined up for annexation. They're saying it straight up. I'm worried, are we going to get stretched a bit thin? We shouldn't be doing any of this, don't get me wrong, but are we going to get stretched a bit thin? Are we going to get, the Adolf Hitler treatment, the Napoleon treatment, where we stretched ourselves too thin, we believed our own hype, and then we get defeated because of that? Yeah. Yeah. Look, they did it at 2 a.m. because they wanted to go around Congress and they wanted you to wake up to it and it'd all be too late. And they send Rubio and the puppy killer out on the morning shows on the Sabbath. This was Sunday this all took place. Saturday, is when they first announced it to us, that they did it. Now it's the damage control. We didn't need to ask Congress. We're going to control it. What's the big deal? The big deal is it's illegal, and that's not how we do things here, and you have a dictator now. You are now in a dictatorship. It will not go well. They never do. It wasn't an arrest operation. It was a war against another country and the kidnap of their leader. Whether that leader's a good guy or not, that's not the fucking point. Donnie's not a good guy. He's a convicted felon. Can some other country come grab him? They could convict him of war crimes, and some countries could put a warrant out for him. Can they come grab Donnie in the middle of the night, 2 a.m.? You'd be cool with that, right, Rubes? No one's above the law. Isn't that what you like to say? And then you go vote for a convicted fucking felon? Okay, more Rubio. Trump said Maria Corina Machado doesn't have the respect or support within the country. By her own admission, she walloped the last election. Rubio, she wasn't on the ballot, but her party was. It was an illegitimate election. That's why Maduro is not a legitimate president. Right, but is there an agreement to transition to democracy? It sounds like there's not. There's got to be a little realism here. Everyone's asking why 24 hours after Maduro was arrested, there's not an election scheduled for tomorrow. These things take time. There's a process. I'm not going to publicly go into details about those things. And in other words, we own it. That's what that means. Another cowardly answer by little Marco. Then they send the puppy killer out and all her extended pock face on her going. I think President Trump is done negotiating. He proved that. So his conversations now with VP of Venezuela are really matter of fact and clear. You can lead or you can get out of the way. That's the puppy killer in all her pock-faced anorexic glory telling the vice president of Venezuela to fuck off the day after they bombed her country, kidnapped her president, killed 80 people, and said they're going to steal the oil. The puppy killer's telling the VP of Venezuela to fuck off, just get out of the way. The facade drops further. They crossed another threshold. I told you in the beginning, the facade would drop more and more, and they would just show what they are. Again, do you people realize what just happened? The United States, as if we are Rome or something, just annexed the country with the largest oil reserves in the world. The oil companies were on a boat 5 minutes later, jumping on the beach to fucking be the first to stake their fucking claim. Donnie's going to take a fat percentage, I'm sure. Do you realize, and what's about to happen next, Donnie's about to do this to a bunch of other places. We about to become Rome in the old days when they were, conquering all the Germanic tribes and shit. What's that called? Annexing territory and expanding Rome. Just taking shit. Like Adolf Hitler did. Forget about Rome. Nazi Germany. That was how they became a Reich. They were all fucked up from World War I. They didn't do too well. They were broke. The economy sucked. And Hitler pointed to another and said, that's why everything's bad. And it began from there, son. And you watch the same playbook, election after election. There's a caravan. And then those caravans just magically disappear. Another to blame for all your problems. Just like Germany back then. The right-wing machine's been doing that since I've been born. They've been the pseudo-Nazi party. They've run that same playbook. Up until its maximum expression. Fascism. Nazism. Right out in the open. Because democracy don't work for them. Never did. Not for the right-wing grift machine. They never liked it. Is the U.S. at war with Venezuela? Well, I would say yes. You kind of have to, right? There's not a war. I mean, we're at war against drug trafficking organizations. It's not a war against Venezuela. Really? Then why are you going to the oil fields? No, it was the war against Venezuela. That's why they're running to the fucking oil fields. Wasn't about drugs at all. Never was, never will be. Donnie was a cokehead most of his life. Rubio's been caught after sniffing a little bit too, giving some speeches. I've seen the footage. Amazing, again, inversion of reality. As they prosecute war against another country and steal their resources, they say, no, we're not at war with that country. That's inversion, son. Right there. Little Marco again. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles told Vanity Fair that an attack on Venezuela's mainland would require approval from Congress. Why didn't that happen? This was not an action that required congressional approval. Yes, it was. That's why they did it at 2 in the morning. Now the precedent has been set. Forget about it. Donnie's going to go on a whirlwind tour now. Why? Because as they were on the morning shows and the afternoon shows today, and they were doing the same standard theater they always do when they cross a new threshold of evil, abomination, theft, murder, to make sure you're still not going to freak out on them. The gauge is, are there millions of people out on the street? No, there is not. They got away with it. Precedent set. Now it's full speed ahead. Just like after he deployed troops in the first city, 4 or 5 more cities after that. And I knew that's exactly what would happen. That's probably why when he deployed troops on the first city, every American should have been protesting the next 5 minutes. Didn't happen. Precedent was set. 4 or 5 more cities got the treatment. Now the precedent has been set of a straight-up annexation of one of maybe the most oil-rich nation on planet Earth. Only gets worse from here, baby. Trump threatens Venezuela's new leader. Trump did like a little bit in the afternoon, some audio somewhere, something, I'm not sure. Trump threatens Venezuela's new leader, Delcy Rodriguez. If she doesn't do what's right, she is going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro. Well, that means what? They kill her? Maduro got kidnapped, put in a cage. What's the only next step up from that? Murder, I assume. Pay a very big price, maybe bigger, probably bigger than Maduro. In other words, if you resist, we kill you. If you don't, we'll just take you alive. Again, an old philosophy of conquerors that waged wars against large populations. If you resist, we go medieval when we win. If you don't resist, you're allowed to either stay or you can leave in peace. Some of you, it's never all. Never. The ones that can pay usually get to leave. The rest get taken as slaves. That's the old world way of thinking in battle. That's what Donnie's employing right here. Saying if you resist, you die. Will you seek congressional approval for any further action in Venezuela or the region? This is little Marco again. Well, we will seek congressional approval to actions that require congressional approval, but otherwise they will get congressional notification. That means no, we don't care. We're going to do what we want. They already did. The point is to just get them on record to give an answer to that question. That's all. No, they're going to do it at 2 a.m. Just like when they arrest the liberals, they'll do that at 2 a.m. And I knew that's how they'd operate because they know they're committing a crime. They know they're a Reich. They know they're evil. They know they're of Satan. All of it. So again, expect a lot of times when you wake up for you to wake up in a different world, son. That's how Reichs operate. People like Adolf Hitler. Arrest everybody late at night while everyone's sleeping. Hit Venezuela or hit your enemy late at night while everyone's sleeping. It's already done by the time everyone wakes up, even knows what's going on. Because I know I'm doing wrong. I know I'm doing evil. That's why. My mouth is dry. I apologize. Oh, good. I had planned on stopping here. When I come back in a moment, Jim Stewartson is going to give us a lesson on technocracy. It's a little five picture lesson. It's not long. Don't worry. But the man took the trouble, and, you know, it's not a subject I was totally into before Leon and Thale popped up on my radar. So I learned some things about what they believe. Again, son, I don't enjoy talking about this stuff. This isn't what I believe. These are sociopaths, psychopaths. They're into things you can't imagine. So I have to talk about it. I don't want to be talking about Nazism and technocracy. It's these sick fucks that believe it and are employing it. Literally. I'm just the guy talking about it. It ain't what I want to be talking about. I'd rather be talking about music or something nice or this or that. But it's the fucking apocalypse. All of that shit's fucking irrelevant for the rest of this little bit of time we have. Except for me, anyway, a few moments here and there of joy. Because I know where all this is going. Straight to the fucking shitter. The story's playing out before us. I've read the story many times over the decades. I suggest you read it again because it has horror, son. And that's what we in right now. And if you were under the bomb in Venezuela, you'd understand. If you were in the death camp in El Salvador, you'd understand about horror and the devil and where this is and where it's motherfucking going. I'll be right back. Okay, remember this technocracy thing? A fiction novel written by a Nazi scientist who people from South Africa who are descendants of Nazis and believed in Nazism. They want to enact this. They think it's cool. That's it. That's why it's happening. So Jim Stewartson again. Just after the Trump regime invaded Venezuela, captured its president, Miller's wife, Katie, who works for Leon, tweeted a threat to Greenland. I showed that to you yesterday, and I'll show it again, which is the territory of Denmark, a NATO nation. A few hours later, Musk and Trump had dinner together for the first time since Musk said Trump was in the Epstein files. I don't know about that. They may have hung out before this. I believe the timing of this reunion is no coincidence, but he's right about it anyway. While there are numerous toxic winds flowing through this regime, the foreign policy all fits into a plan from the 1930s by Technocracy Incorporated, a fascist movement calling for the elimination of democracy in favor of rule by technocrats. Yeah, but the idea really came from that novel that the Nazi scientist wrote. That's why they take it as gospel. Technocracy's charter included the creation of a superstate called the Technate of America, spanning from Greenland to Venezuela. Really, it's Greenland to the top portion of South America. I've shown you the map. I'm going to show it to you again. Again, son, I don't want to be here talking about this. I would rather be here talking about something else. This is what these sick fucks believe. So you should understand it. Understand their psyches, how their minds work. That's what I've been trying to explain to you. One of the aspects. How the devil's mind works. All of it. I've analyzed it all, son. For decades. I didn't always know Leon and Thale. They're a relatively new addition to what I know about. But this is their history. This is what they believe. This is what Donnie's trying to achieve with them. Literally. Not theory. Not conjecture. What those sick fucks believe and are implementing with whose money, class? Your fucking money. Every penny of it. You paying for your own technocracy, your own subjugation. Marx. Technate of America spanning from Greenland to Venezuela. Technocracy was led in Canada by Joshua Haldeman, Leon Scum's grandfather, a vicious racist who moved his family to apartheid South Africa in 1950. Many of Musk's beliefs are simply passed down directly through his family. It's obvious. I mean, again, Thale and Leon walk around with Nazi haircuts, so it's kind of fucking obvious what they grew up in. What adult male walks around with a straight Nazi haircut these days? Unless you're sick in the fucking head. You grew up in Nazi culture. So the ideas to Leon are passed down through his family, it appears, the idea of creating a technate, obviously. To Musk, Trump is just a malleable puppet in a much bigger game. Venezuela is only the beginning. This is what Jim doesn't see. And I love Jim. I'm not disparaging him here. So many people I respect out there, Ron Filipkowski, Jim Stewartson, different people. They don't know what I know. They know some things I don't know. They don't know the overarching what this is. That's what I mean when I say maybe 5 people on the planet truly understand this as much as a human can. For we are not God, are we? Not by a long shot. But again, decades I've been studying this and keeping an eye out. And I was never the guy that was quick with the finger, pointing at motherfuckers. That's the Antichrist. That's the Barack Obama, George Bush, that Pope, that. Nope. Donnie's shitbags. Now, for real, son, you looking at it. He just took a nation's oil in 2 hours. So this is what people don't see. People say Trump is this person's puppet, that person's puppet. To a degree, there's 2 people he might be a puppet of. Netanyahu, Vlad. He will snap those leashes eventually. Donnie believes you should worship him. God complex, narcissist, really sick in the head, man. Who got the foot up the ass and who's out the White House and who's in the White House? Even though JD, Greasy Pete, and Leon made their move. Donnie. Who were the gold statues in the Holy Land of? Donnie. Who were the King Cyrus coins of? Donnie. Russian vassals getting bombed by Donnie, even though he's a Russian asset. Donnie has his own agenda too. He's a junkyard dog, I've been trying to tell you for 10 years. No one can really put a leash on him. I'm sure Vlad's getting a nice percentage of what Donnie's doing to his vassals, so don't worry. This is the beast. And Jim, as much as I love him, he can characterize Donnie as a puppet of Leon and Greasy Pete. No. Donnie's the one they gave, billions or millions of dollars to, of your money. It's just a circle. They got it from the government in handouts. They gave a bunch back to Donnie for his campaigns. He got their money. Leon got Donnie's foot up the ass out the White House. It's Donnie. He's the one, and he's going to be the one. He's going to take it all. He's doing it right now. Again, Vlad, as evil as he is, he don't have the military to do it. But I'm sure, again, Vlad's getting a piece of all this action. It wouldn't be happening otherwise. But Donnie's the beast. He has his own motherfucking agenda. He will be the last man standing. Between him and Leon, he already won. He's yet to do it to Vlad and Bibi, but I have a feeling he will. Especially to Bibi. They're Nazis. Nazis, Jews. That doesn't mix. Despite what you're seeing now, son. Let's get back to the lesson. My point is basically what Jim, what Ron Philip, what so many other people that, they see the signs of fascism and all that and technocracy. They don't know about the overarching God, the devil, the Antichrist. He thinks Pete Thale's the Antichrist, even though he's an atheist. How that works, I don't know. But again, I'm not making fun of him. I love the man. I love what he does. I've learned some things from him. I appreciate that. One of the other things I've been saying, though, for years is I've noticed so many people that don't believe in God are calling that thing the Antichrist. I've noticed that for 10 years. Okay, this is the technocracy map. And it goes basically from Greenland all the way down to the top portion of South America. It's not just Venezuela, I don't think. And I'm going to show it to you right now. The bottom part's kind of in the shade. what that cap is at the bottom on one side of the screen, that's the top portion of South America. So Canada, Greenland, Mexico, all of Central America, the top portion of South America. That's the technocracy map. That's what these sick fucks believe. That's what they are doing. Donnie talked about taking Greenland in the first administration. What does that mean, class? They had this plan even back then. Donnie just didn't have the sycophants. Now he's got Hegseth. Anywhere Donnie points to, Hegseth will say, you know, how soon do you want him bombed, boff? Donnie will never get a no out of Pete Hegseth. Do you understand that? That's why he chose him. That's what you're seeing be attempted to, you know, make a thing. It's what Greasy Pete, that's Pete Thale, Leon, Donnie, others are attempting to do. But Donnie's the Antichrist. Do you think he'll be satisfied with this much of the globe? Vlad Putin, I'm asking you. Leon, Greasy Pete, Mr. Xi. Because I know Mr. Vlad and Mr. Xi, they think they're going to have a slice of the kingdom of Earth. Do you think Mr. Xi, Mr. Vlad, I know you don't know Christianity, either of you, but a quick lesson. The Antichrist is the most vile thing, prophesied for thousands of years as the end. Pure evil. Will want your worship, and by your, I mean the world, son. Guaranteed. The steps are being walked perfectly. So Mr. Xi and Mr. Vlad, do you really think the Antichrist, and I know he is, son, will be satisfied with this much of the world? If you think he will, you don't know the imp, son. You don't know Revelation. You don't know God. You don't know the devil. You don't know the Antichrist. This is what Stephen Miller's wife posted. Greenland covered in American flag. This is what Stewartson is talking about when the first part I read you. And then he posted the picture of Leon coming to Mar-a-Lago, which I showed you a little while ago. I told you Leon would, you know, he'd be just not in our face, but he'd still be integral to everything that's happening. And this is the world kingdom. The deal between Trump, Putin, and Xi, divvy up the world. That's exactly what's going on right now. Donnie is a Russian asset, don't forget that. It's kind of obvious him and Putin have a plan where Putin takes Europe. Obvious. Every European country should be gearing up for war right now. Every single one. I don't know what the fuck you people are doing. Donnie will have this part hemisphere, whatever you want to call it, from Greenland down to the top of South America. Xi will have the, you know, Asiatic portion, and I'll show you the map and how it's split. It's crude, but that's the idea right now. And it's obvious. China would take Taiwan and the Asian section, most of India. Vlad would take Europe. Donnie would take pretty much the whole North and South Americas and Greenland. But again, Donnie's the Antichrist, so he won't be satisfied with just that half. He's going to want the other half too. That's what the Antichrist is. A bottomless void of fucking greed, theft, murder, lies, evil. And the story is quite clear. Son, it will be demanded of us that we worship the beast and the image. Again, does it sound like that entity won't want the whole world? Leon wants it too, but he don't have the blessing. He got the lesser blessing. So, although this is a nice plan right now, and again, in the novel 1984, if I remember correctly, I read it once a long time ago. I believe there were 2 world empires, and there was false animosity built up called 30 Seconds of Rage or something to that effect, that everyone would stop and watch. And this constant perpetual Cold War between the 2 world empires was always going on. Does that sound familiar to you? Fake lotteries were always going on. It was a total police state. So in your apocalypse, in your 1984, you're going to have 3 kingdoms. For a minute, I assume. And then Donnie's going to want it all. And Donnie got the hammer to take it all. He got a hammer big enough to beat Russia and China. Military to military. Unless people want to start shooting nukes and just end civilization. But a straight up military fight, America would win against either of those countries, probably both of them together. So it's possible. And what is Donnie famous for? Turning on every single person. So I assume we'll turn on Vlad and Bibi at some point, and Mr. G too. And he got the hammer to do it. That's what I was worried about. So, right, as of now, even though these people, like so many others, think they can control the beast, leash the beast, make plans with him, agreements, and he's going to stick by them. Right now, all of you and these world leaders think there's going to be 3 main kingdoms on Earth, and that's it. They're wrong. Donnie's going to want it all. That's simple. There will be 1 kingdom. Trump dismissed the risks of regime change in Venezuela. Again, this is like an afternoon kind of audio interview I think Donnie did. You know, rebuilding there and regime change, anything you want to call it, is better than what you have right now. Can't get any worse, he told The Atlantic. Okay, so it was an interview with The Atlantic. Can't get any worse than a empire dropping bombs on your country, kidnapping your leader, and stealing your most valuable natural resource. It can't get any worse. Back to Rubio. How does the U.S. intend to secure oil fields? Won't that take U.S. troops? Well, ultimately, this is not about securing the oil fields. Yes, it is. Straight inversion again. That's all it's ever been about. And everyone knows it. It gets mentioned every 3 fucking seconds. Oil companies, oil fields, oil. The first thing they took were 2 oil tankers. It's not about securing oil fields. Yes, that's exactly what it's about. It's the whole reason. Yes, it'll take troops. Again, okay, so we did this now. Is everyone in the country just going to go along? There's not going to be no sabotage, no attacks, no nothing. That's hard to believe. And who's going to have to put that down? U.S. troops will have to put that down, which means some of you will die. Are you ready? Are you ready for World War III? Because you are now the hand. I'm speaking to the military. You are now the hand of the very Antichrist prophesied for thousands of years. The Antichrist that will drag you all straight up into World War III. He has another 5 countries lined up for you people. And he in a hurry. You think you're not going to see no action over this? It ain't over. Again, people get awfully mad when you take their national treasure, man. So I assume that there's going to have to be eventually some U.S. troops in Venice. There's going to have to be. Are you ready? World War III, son. Guaranteed inevitable. Thanks to these cunts, you thought were a good idea, and you know who I'm talking to. Not everybody, you know. Venezuelan military demands the U.S. immediately release Nicolas Maduro, and that's what this looks like. Yeah, Venezuela, I don't know. They don't sound like they're willing to go along here, so I'm assuming some U.S. troops are going to die here. This is why you should have never been the hand of the Reich. Your generals all the way down the chain, all of you people should have said no. You're going to regret it. Big time. Back to little Marco. To be clear, there's no plan for U.S. occupation of this country of nearly 30 million people. That's a reporter asking Marco that. The president always retains optionality on anything on all these matters. In other words, we're going to do what we want with it and the oil. So is it your position now that the Vice President Delcy Rodriguez is now the legitimate president of Venezuela? Little Marco again. This is not about the legitimate president. We don't believe that this regime in place is legitimate, says the guy who works for a convicted felon. Traitor to his nation who staged a coup, stole 3,000 classified documents. Our regime is legitimate, right? Right, America? No, it isn't. It's a fucking joke of criminals that are taking you all straight to the fucking abyss. And there ain't jack shit you can do about it. It has nothing to do with a legitimate or illegitimate president. We all know what it has to do with. Oil. The death count from the military attack on Venezuela by the U.S. has risen to 80 between civilians and members of security. Yes, regular people died for this. As you're applauding it, as you're laughing, thinking it's great, as the Reich is putting it to music. Regular people died so oil companies and Donald Trump and others can have glory and more money and steal a nation's oil. Again, son, do you realize how wrong of the wrong side you were on this? Or let me put it this way. You couldn't be more on the wrong side if you tried. 80 people on top of the over 100 stack of bodies in the Caribbean before this happened. This was Tom Emmer, and he just said on Fox News, God bless this president of peace, Donald J. Trump. That's how the Antichrist gets presented in different parts of biblical prophecy. A man of peace, claiming to be a man of peace. We've seen that play out over and over again in between bombings. Can I get the Nobel Peace Prize? He wants to be seen as a man of peace for some reason. Just like the story says. And they say it out loud, even though it's what, class? The inverse of reality. He's bombed 7 countries, now stolen a country's oil, stole 2 tankers, kidnapped a world leader. And he's got, a list of 5 more already queued up. Venezuelan Minister Vladimir Pedrino Lopez says U.S. forces killed many members of Maduro's security team in cold blood in order to capture him, including soldiers, female soldiers, and innocent citizens. Trump tells The Atlantic, we do need Greenland, right on to Greenland. Again, the casket of Venezuela isn't even cold yet. And we talking about Greenland already. Again, folks, back when the annexation first talks started happening, I told you they were serious. You're about to see it all. You already saw the first opener, the opening ante of annexation. Went for the country with the largest oil reserves on Earth first, after the Holy Land. 200 troops on the Holy Land, by the way. We do need Greenland, absolutely. We need it for defense. Just like we're fighting the drug cartels down in Venezuela, right? That's why we kidnapped the leader and took their oil and seized 2 oil tankers. But the drug boats we blow up. Or the fishermen. This comes one day after Stephen Miller's wife, Katie, posted an image of Greenland covered in a U.S. flag. Danish ambassador to the U.S., Jesper Mahler Sørensen, slammed Miller, saying we expect full respect for the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark. Yeah, you just watched him take Venezuela, which has the most oil in the world, in reserve. Why wouldn't they take Greenland? Who's going to stop them? Nobody. Who can make war with the beast? Nobody. It's starting to look like Europe, the South Americas, some of those countries, Canada, will be fighting us, Russia, and China, North Korea, the Persians. Most of them will probably side with Donnie as well. Those countries, Middle East, Israel. Be funny seeing Israel and the Persians fight on the same side, the Muslims. All against Europe and the South American countries, Mexico, Canada. That's what it's looking like. It's going to be ugly, man. World War fucking 3. I had forgotten yesterday that attack on Venezuela, that was coordinated by Donnie and Petey Hegseth at Mar-a-Lago. He's not even pretending to be president and being at the White House anymore. He's running attacks from his golf club, his golf resort, as you pay for his dinner. And Pete's, I'm sure. And his gin, too. So I did a search to make sure. Yes, according to recent news, U.S. military operation to capture Venezuelan President Maduro was directed and monitored from Mar-a-Lago, with Trump giving the final order from his Florida resort, watching the raid unfold in real time before holding a press conference there. The operation, dubbed Operation Absolute Resolve, resulted in Maduro's capture, transport to New York to face drug trafficking charges, even though they let the Honduran president out on a pardon when he brought 500 tons of coke in. Nah, it's not about oil at all. So now you know why the curtains were all up around Pete and Donnie. They were running a war, an American war, from a golf resort. Because why even pretend at this point? That he's the president, it's not just a grift. Why even fucking pretend? So you had classified documents in the shitter being photocopied, scanned in people's telephones, probably being sent to Vlad and God knows who fucking else at a golf resort. And you had a literal war. It was an easy war against a very small country. That's not the point. It was still a war. Literally run from behind a curtain at a golf resort. With the Secretary of War in full makeup and the President in full makeup. Do you understand how fucking doomed we are? And Donnie spent the evening or the late night, the cap off to everything that was said, all the abominations all day that the cabinet said and he said. He just ran down the list of all the next targets. So Greenland's the first one. Already on the list, ready to go, queued up. Donnie even gives a time frame in one of these comments. I'm going to read you. Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the U.S., and he's not going to be doing it very long. Donnie's been a coke addict most of his life. Colombia is mentioned again. The sick man, Donnie, the convicted felon, the one who will ask for your worship at some point, is saying the leader of Colombia is sick. Question, so there will be an operation by the U.S. in Colombia? Trump, sounds good to me. Greenland? Again, the Venezuela thing's not even cold yet, son. Greenland already mentioned. Colombia mentioned again. It was mentioned yesterday, too, after they bombed Venezuela. I'm talking about today. Trump again in an audio clip. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. That's not even remotely fucking true. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and the European Union needs us to have it, and they know that. He's coming for Greenland. Expect it in the next couple months. Straight up, Greenland. I hope you hear me. I've been saying it to you for months. One of your most popular people. I've been telling them for months. And I know you people have hope. I can tell by what's written online. There is no hope. The American military will take Greenland, and there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry. I didn't want this. Cuba is ready to fall. This is all Donnie. Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out. Greenland? Colombia? Cuba? Little Marco talked about Cuba earlier. Basically said, yeah, straight up, yeah, they're like next, yeah. Donnie again, Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back. We're going to have big investments by the oil companies. The oil companies are ready to go. Just again, they're basically straight up telling us in multiple ways, yeah, this was just all about oil and we're taking the oil. Oil seems to be mentioned an awful lot, I'm just saying. Not by me, the Reich. The oil companies are ready to go. I know, Donnie. I know. The CIA hasn't been down there for months for nothing. Now we move to Mexico, Donnie, again. And this isn't from yesterday. This is today. You have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get its act together. Every time I talk to Scheinbaum, I offer to send troops. She's a little afraid. Yeah, you mean afraid for you to annex her country? Yeah. And he says this after he annexes Venezuela. Because, yes, Donnie has offered Scheinbaum troops to, help with the cartels. And she said, fuck you. And she was proven right by Donnie's annexation of Venezuela, and now he's bringing up Mexico 2 days in a row. Crazy guy in sunglasses, since January and before, been yelling about this technocracy map and what they want to take. Greenland, Canada, Mexico. I said those things. Filling in all the spots of the map. Literally. That's what we're talking about here. Rodriguez called it a kidnapping of Maduro. That's a question. That's all right. That's not a bad term. That's Donnie saying that. I'm sure he said more, but that's one of the things he said. Do you believe yet that this thing is the Antichrist? That you're in some different waters now. Not the usual political waters. That's not a bad term. So what is going to happen to those oil reserves? Donnie, we're going to run everything. I know, Donnie. That's what I've been yelling for 10 years. And especially when you guys started talking all the annexation. Because last term, they were just basically talking about Greenland. We're going to run everything. We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time. By fix it, you mean you and the oil companies take billions of dollars worth of oil from Venezuela? Is that what fixing it means? Of course, that's what it means. Absolutely. At the right time, right now, we run it. Problem? Donnie again asked a question. How soon can an election take place in Venezuela? I think we're looking more at getting it fixed, getting it ready first because it's a mess. In other words, we're focused on the oil right now, honey. Just, cool out with the election talk. Venezuela's mine now. That's really what he's trying to say. He doesn't want to just come out and say it because that's a quote they'll use in The Hague. And he knows that. He's always known that. And there's an interaction coming up that proves what I just said to you. Donnie gives a time frame for Greenland. Greenland, you will be taken in the next couple months. That's gospel. Be prepared. Gospel. We'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. We'll need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? You ready? You ready for this? They added one more dog sled. That's the Antichrist talking about annexing a country and then mocking the country that runs that territory. That's the Antichrist. Right there. It's a big joke. But he gave the game away. He gave us a time frame. So they're going to take Greenland in the next couple months. And I'm going to run with that's gospel. I watched him take Venezuela. Or excuse me, I woke up to it. Why wouldn't they? Who's going to stop them? Nobody. Who can make war with the beast? You're witnessing it right now. You're witnessing it. Trump, we were prepared to do a second strike if we needed. We're still prepared. That's off the table now, the reporter asks. No, it's not. If they don't behave, we will do a second strike. Will American troops be on the ground? Trump, it depends. You know, if they give us a problem when we steal the oil. If they give us a problem, I'll send it, the hand of Satan in to kill some people. And that's what you are now, American military. I hope you're proud of yourself. You're the literal hand of Satan right now. Via working for Donnie Shitbags. You just killed 80 people in Venezuela and over 100 in the open seas to steal a nation's oil. That's what you were used for, and you allowed yourself to be used for it. That will be held against you by the man. Again, son, I didn't choose it, you did. You take a nation's oil, I mean, they're just going to let you do it. There's not going to be any attacks, nothing. I assume there will be, so I assume there will need to be some troops, yes. That's you people in the uniforms. You're going to go have to die for this. Are you ready? Was it worth it? This ain't even the George Bush Jr. days where they pretend a little bit it's not about oil. They mention the oil companies every 3 fucking seconds. So that's why you killed for the oil companies straight up, and everyone knows it. It's not even a secret. It's being advertised. And that's why you may be killed. What do you need from Delcy Rodriguez? I believe that's the VP of Venezuela. Donnie, we need total access. We need access to the oil and to the other things in their country. What did he mention first? What did he mention, class? Oil for the 90 millionth time in 2 days. So that's what it's about. They asked him flat out, what do you need from her? Total access, oil. Blah, 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 blah. After that, meaningless. That's why you killed. That's why people are dead right now. That's why you're going to go have to occupy that territory once the sabotage starts. And that's why you're going to have to die for it. Military people I'm talking to. Who's in charge of Venezuela right now? This is Donnie, okay? He tries not to give certain answers because he knows that will get him in legal trouble. It can be used against him later on. What Donnie's really trying to say to the press here, because I've seen this many times, don't make me say something that's going to get me in trouble later. That's what he's trying to say. Now let's read it. Who's in charge of Venezuela right now? They're asking, are you annexing this? Is that what's going on? Don't ask me who is in charge because I'll give you an answer and it will be very controversial. In other words, the answer will get me in trouble. I don't want to say it out loud. You're making me say it out loud. The press does that for a reason. The people in the press are not stupid. Many of them ask presidents questions, especially Donnie, that can be used against him later in court proceedings. They do it intentionally. And I don't blame them. If you're annexing a goddamn country, say you annex in a goddamn country. Be a man and fucking say it. You want to be a criminal? State your crimes. If you're such a badass. You want to be a Nazi? Leon, Donnie, Greasy Pete, Miller, you're so proud of it. It's so great. Let us know. Admit to it. I mean, God, the corporate cunt mentality that so many run with at the top these days are at the point where a man can do a Nazi salute in front of the whole world with utmost sincerity with his chest out, and then the next day deny he did it. And he is not ostracized utterly from society. That's one of the reasons I know it's over. One of his other buddies can be so gacked up on cocaine that he can't sit in a chair like a normal human being. And then the next day he'll deny he did it and that he's a special brain and they're trying to drug him. Because the corporate cunt mentality has taught all these people that they can say that to the rubes and peasants and get away with it. When in reality, they just Nazis and they just cokeheads. That's it. I'll give you an answer. It'll be very controversial. What does that mean? The press asks, because they want you to say something controversial, illegal. That's the point of the question. Trump, it means we're in charge. So you annexed the country. That's what they're trying to get Donnie to say. And he did say, we're in charge. Well, that's annexation. Until you turn it over in some manner, that's annexation. That's what Donnie doesn't want to say. It means we're in charge. Well, we knew that, yeah. We just want you to say it out loud. For The Hague later. Only this time again, people, I'm sorry to tell you, and I take no joy in telling you, there will be no Hague and all that. But this could be used in The Hague, literally. If there were. This is going to get so chaotic and out of control how the story goes. There's not going to be any chance for some Hague again, or AOC is not going to be president. Gavin Newsom, none of that's happening. I'm sorry. It was over the second the keys got turned over. We're not going to have the Nuremberg trials. That will all take place in a different place. Not like it did in 1945 or 6 or whenever it happened. Here on Earth. That Hague trial, that Nuremberg shit, that lake stuff, that's going to happen somewhere else. I wish it were that simple that it could go to The Hague someday and this would be over in a few years in that type of manner, but no, it's going to get way out of control. And again, I have a feeling that's why the man has to come back. This is something humans can't stop or fix. It will get to that point. And that's why the man has to step in. Never before was that necessary. Why? Never before did man have the weapons required to destroy the earth. Man has those weapons now. There are enough nukes, nuclear power plants, to destroy the whole world 1,000,000 times over. So I assume, again, that's why this time is different. That's why the man has to step in this time, as opposed to all the other times people are standing on street corners yelling the end is nigh. That's the difference this time. The AI technology where an image can go forth, an image of you, it can go forth infinitely. Infinite incarnations. Saying what you wanted to. Doing what you wanted to. It can be omnipresent. It can have life. Not real life. The devil's not about real. He's about bullshit. Fakery. A meaningless algorithm programmed to be a certain way. That doesn't have real life, yet it does have life. It means we're in charge. Donnie didn't want to say that because he knows that could be used against him in a court of law, at The Hague, whatever. And he knows he's admitting to annexation. There's about 17 billion of oil reserves in Venezuela. You mean trillion? Did you say billion or trillion? Donnie wants to make sure we're clear that it's trillion or something. It's much more than that, Trump says. So what is going to happen to those reserves? Donnie, we're going to run everything. We know, Donnie. That's what I've been yelling again for 10 years, and since you've really talked about the annexation. We're going to run everything. Doesn't sound like there's any immediate plans to have any handover of power back to Venezuela in any way. You know what we call that, son? Even in the modern era of 2025, even though they try and call it something else? Annexation. That's all it is. They mentioned Mexico again tonight. Donnie did specifically. Cuba, Greenland, Colombia. You all better be paying attention. I knew he was going to do this to you in January. You all should have been taking this a lot more seriously. This is the American version of Adolf Hitler, doing the same thing Adolf Hitler did. Hitler looked at his neighbors as, what can I steal from them as I annex their territory? Same thing here. We're going to run everything regarding the reserves. We know, Donnie, we know. And we're at the end, and this is just a breakdown of everything that just happened. Speaking with reporters aboard Air Force One tonight, Donald Trump threatened Colombia, threatened Cuba, threatened Iran, threatened Mexico, said the U.S. is in charge of Venezuela and threatened it with a second strike, said the U.S. needs Greenland from the standpoint of national security. This is not normal. Where's Congress? Congress is over. They set that precedent a long time ago. It's government by proclamation, war by, proclamation of one man. You're in a dictatorship now. This was one interview on one plane ride. The day after he bombed a country, stole their oil, and kidnapped their leader's son. Do you hear me? Son, did you hear when I said he was the Antichrist? The Reich just bombed the country yesterday morning, Friday into Saturday morning, I believe it was, 2 a.m. They talked about 4 different places they were going to hit next yesterday. And today, in one interview, threatened Colombia, Cuba, Iran, Mexico, said the U.S. is in charge of Venezuela and might strike them again, threatened Greenland as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new territories are on the chopping block already. They obviously planned on rolling this out at the new year in a serious way. The straight annexation of things they want. Greenland, he said, you got 2 months. I would take that very seriously if I were you. And I would mentally prepare. It will happen. You just watched him do it to Venezuela. And Venezuela has more people than Greenland. Colombia, Cuba, Iran, Mexico. I would take this very seriously. I've already seen headlines. I forget what the group is called. There's a group of South American and south of the border countries, and kind of like NATO in a way, where they'll respond to a threat to them in general. I've heard that's been convened. And many of the Latin American countries are south of the border may band together in a military way. Not that they could take on the U.S. military, they can't. But they could kill some people. Two, 4, 5. Already took one. Country with the biggest oil reserves on Earth. Straight up annexed it. In hours. Already had 4 more countries on the tip of their tongue after that annexation overnight without congressional approval. Murder of 80 people. On top of the hundreds they killed in the Caribbean, or excuse me, the over 100. Today, now we've got 5 countries, including Greenland, on top of Venezuela. All queued up for annexation. I hope the fucking world is paying attention right now. I knew all of this would happen. This is no surprise to me. Seeing it is still surprising, but I was literally saying this was going to happen. This is what I was worried about. 10 years ago, when I was worried that he was the Antichrist, that this is what he was going to do, I didn't know it was going to be split in half like this. Again, I'm not God. He had the 4-year term. He lost. Now he came back. After being a traitor, trying to overthrow the government, just like Hitler did before he got in power. Napoleon was in power, lost it, came back. That's more like Donnie. But Donnie staged a straight-up coup. One more time, I want to break this down, and then I got to get out of here. 5 countries are on the list to be hit next. Donnie is saying it outright. I told you the facade would drop more and more. You watching right now some of the facade. The annexation facade, like maybe we're going to do it. Maybe. Facade is completely dropped. We run it. We own it. They stole oil from us. Five more countries. 5 more countries. Already on the list. This plan again 10 years ago, they had this. And before, ever since that Nazi scientist made this map, there's been groups of people that have been interested in this idea. Who knew this very idea? Here's the interesting part. This very idea would be the catalyst for the apocalypse. A continuation of Nazism, but with a technocratic flair to it. Little do all you cunts know, all you evil people in the right-wing grift machine for the past 40, 50 years, all you Nazis from South Africa, Leon, Pete Thale, Vlad, BB. What you cunts don't understand, your movement led to the Antichrist and you can't control him. He will be the destruction of you all. Your very movement has led you to the devil, to the Antichrist, to your actual destruction in this world and the next. That's astounding to me. And who knew that the apocalypse, the end, would just be a replay of 1939? Who knew it would be that pathetic, that cliche, that worthless? That's amazing. 5 more countries ready to be annexed, ready to be bombed. And the bombing of Venezuela ain't even cold yet, son. That's the Antichrist. Understand, you are witnessing the Antichrist himself about to take over the world. He already has. Who's going to stop him? Nobody. Who can make war with the beast? That's what you are witnessing right now. 5 more to go in the immediate future. Greenland in the next couple months. When he takes Greenland, the world that thought they could talk their way out of this, I'm talking to Democrats in high positions, Obama, Joe Biden, I'm talking to everybody. You all thought we could walk our way out of this, walk our way through it, as if there were political solutions. Nope. This is going to places you people don't understand, as smart as you are. So many of you. There is a spiritual aspect right on top of this. It is the overarching theme to it all. The devil himself. This political thing that you think will go away is the Antichrist. This can only get worse. It can only go darker. It can only go more evil. That's what all of you don't get yet. When he takes Greenland, though, will Europe really get it? Will the political pundits, will Jim Stewartson realize it ain't Pete Thale, it's Donnie Shitbags? When he takes Greenland, that'll be a big moment. I look forward, or I actually don't look forward, to seeing people's reactions to the Antichrist take Greenland. How many people will suddenly wake up? The leader of Canada, the leaders of Europe, again, the Democratic elite, the liberal elite in America that should have fled the country fucking 2 years ago. Will you understand that, I wonder? The one thing you're all missing out there. All the targets all the people that comment on this, that talk about it day after day. You're missing the spiritual. You're missing the Jesus in it. You're missing the devil in it. You're missing the God the Father in it. I know these are outdated concepts, and it's not cool to believe in it. You can't be enlightened and believe in that. I know. I know. You're wrong. The devil all over this. I hope you see it eventually. Because it's gonna get ugly. But when they take Greenland, I wonder if that's gonna wake a lot of people up. Like, oh shit, this is real. This is some Hitler shit. This is Adolf. We should have taken this way more seriously. He coming for everybody. He coming for the liberals just like Adolf. He coming for territory and treasure just like Adolf. And he's leading us all to the abyss and Armageddon and the mark and the image. And it's all coming. It's guaranteed inevitable. I've never been more certain. He just convinces me more every day. 5 more countries lined up to bomb next and annex. Have a wonderful evening.